Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me? GamerWolfSix. Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, Diego recounted how Axel told them about our secret relationship. Well, at least, not open relationship or whatever. And yeah, everything just kind of goes over that guy's head, It's like, yeah, we went back to Ty's place. And it's like, and we did stuff. Stuff. And it's like, It's like, sex. Like, wait, what? Ooh, huh. That went over my head. I was like, Diego, you're worse than I was when I was a kid. Jeez. Anyways, enough about that. Set face. And continue. The morning had commenced in a typically uneventful fashion before Diego and I had gone our separate ways to our respective workplaces for the day. Today, Diego was working for Ty, and I was working for Lucas. I found myself suppressing my urge to message Diego and ask after Ty. And ask after Ty? No. Actually, now I want Thai food, but anyways, like actual food. After all, Diego had only just started work. I was sure I would find out more later on. This urge was perhaps in part spurred by my terrible night's sleep I had the night prior. It was several hours before I could finally drift off, only to awaken roughly an hour later and barely get another wink of sleep before morning. And do be like that. Worst case scenario, when it's hot and humid and there's a mosquito in the room. Understandably, I was tired. So very, very tired. And worried. Upset. Scared. Conflicted. Did I mention that I was tired? Thankfully, my workload for the day was more preparation for the combat tournament, and with my specific task to prepare letters that would be mailed out to the combatants taking part in the heats. I was thankful it was something simple and not strenuous. Working alongside me was the usual crew of Lucas, Eric, and Dom. Dom was seated just across from me, working on the design for some last-minute advertising, while Lucas and Eric seemed to have their hands full with the office printer. Oh, is it what I think it's gonna be again? But wait, with the, I don't know, paper jam? Why? It was printing fine a second ago. We've got to make sure it's in straight. It was. Eric then opened a flap located in the rear of the printer and pulled free a crumpled piece of paper before closing it and turning back toward Lucas. Okay, hit it, handsome. I'll hit you if you keep calling me handsome. I hope that's a promise, hot stuff. Things appear to be largely business as usual between the two. Here's another stack of flyers to be cut into quarters. Thanks. I accepted the stack of flyers with brief diversion from my previous task and absent-mindedly began separating them while becoming lost in my own mind. Hey, so I was wondering, remember how we found that abandoned building a while back? I do. Axel is really excited to go. He has been pressuring me about it nonstop. Wait, is this the same day where we fall asleep and then go to the thing in some murder house, but not really because I was dreaming? So I was wondering if you wanted to come with. Oh, you could invite Ty too, if you think he'd be interested. What do you say? The mention of Ty's name sent a sharp pain shooting through my chest. Of course, Dom had no knowledge of what had transpired. Really? Axel's excited? I thought he was opposed to the idea. Still, you can count on me in. I had been wondering when we're going to get around to doing that. Great, I'll be packing lunch too, so don't worry about that either. Oh, and be sure to invite Ty. The more the merrier. Besides, none of the three of us are particularly big dudes. I'm sure Axel will feel safer with someone like Ty around to protect us. Now, always that up thinking of bringing food like lunches. Like, think of those dainty little nice sandwiches that you think in English things, just like Woodcrest sandwiches with egg and stuff in them. You say that as though you're expecting trouble. Of course not. It's just insurance. You know how it is. Alright then. I know he's working today, so I don't know if he'll be free, but I'll ask. There will be a sandwich in it for him if he does. That trick might work on Diego, but I don't quite know about Ty. Suppose we'll have to find out then, won't we? I pulled my phone from my pocket and started a new message to Ty. I knew that two of us were supposed to be spending time apart, but, well, I told Dom at least I'd try. With the message fully sent, I returned my phone in my pocket, and both Dom and I returned to our work, only to be distracted by Eric's voice excitedly bellowing from across the room. It's working! Great job, Eric. We should celebrate. Damn right we should. Thus followed the straightest thing, and I'd seen in a while. Since my arrival in Woodcrest. Straightest? Lucas, face adorned with an uncharacteristically bright smile, gave Eric an excited high five. Weirder yet, the two made a beeline for the exit, Eric boldly slapping Lucas on the behind as they went. Okay, yeah, definitely a dream. And if all this wasn't weird enough, Lucas not only didn't seem to mind, but allowed Eric to wrap his arm around his waist as the two departed the office. What the hell was that? I wish I knew. I so wish I knew. Well, ignoring whatever that was, let's try to get this work finished so we can go exploring. Yeah, let's do that. Two of us briskly worked, powering through our repetitive workloads. It would be nearly an hour before we'd finished, with no sign of Eric or Lucas returning. Having done everything we'd tasked with, the two of us departed in the direction of the woods, where Axel had already agreed to meet us. And hey, we didn't meet the crow guy. After what was roughly half an hour's walk, characterized by Dom's interest in my involvement with Ty, and my attempts to downplay things to avoid getting into most recent of developments, the two of us would finally arrive at the entrance of the woods. As we'd expected, Axel was there waiting for us. It was, however, to my great surprise that he wasn't alone. Hey Dom, hey Adrian. A very good afternoon to you both. It's a pleasure to witness you hale and whole, Adrian. Hale and whole? I don't think that's a typo. Wait, how did Ty know to meet us here? Not only had I not told him about the location, but I haven't even known it myself when I messaged him. Let me guess. How did you know, how did I know to meet you here? Simple. I'm tracking you. It's all on your phones. I would just so happen that Axel was delivering produce when your message came in. Thus, I accompanied him to the rendezvous with you here. Yep, convenient, right? It was terribly convenient. And strange that, despite everything, Ty would not only make an appearance, but would be in such high spirits as well. Who's looking after the bar? And Diego, of course. After all, it's Monday, one of our quietest days. He is quite capable of that, I can assure you. I'd have to assume Tuesdays would be the slowest of days, you know? If you say so. Sorry, reading yawns. Well, it's good to see you, Ty. Likewise, Adrian. Likewise. Now, are the three of you ready to move on? Just a moment. There's one thing before we do. Tom reached into the bag he had been carrying with him and pulled out 4 of his curried egg sandwiches, distributing one to each of us. That sounds good. Let me just look at what a curried egg sandwich would look like. Curried egg sandwich. Looks pretty tasty. Probably gonna have to find a place that has that, or find a recipe. Stop salivating. Neither Adrian nor I have had lunch, and the best eat these are best eaten fresh. Yay, my favorite. Thanks, Dom. How curious. Ty held his sandwich up to his nose, inhaling deeply. Curry powder. And is that paprika I smell? I can only surmise the filling here is curried egg. That's right. So is it... I think do we have curry powder? I think we just have curry paste, though. Ty took a bite from the sandwich and spent several seconds chewing before a wide smile spread across his face. My goodness, these are quite good. What? Oh, that means a lot coming from someone with your cooking expertise. Thank you. Please, I flatter not. This is a terrific recipe, and clearly something you have made time and time again, considering the tidy presentation. I should have eggs more. Well, they are axles. Yep, Dom makes these for me all the time. They're so great. Ah, how sweet. Axel's lucky to have you, Dom. And have you dom him. Thanks. Taking a bite out of my own sandwich, I noticed the filling was still cold. Come to think of it, when had Dom had time to prepare these? Had he done these before work and kept them refrigerated there? How did he know both Ty and I would agree? Did he make extras just in case? Is something wrong, Adrian? Your face is all scrunched up. Huh? Oh, it's nothing. The four of us finished our sandwiches before proceeding onward to the woods, retracing our steps from days prior, hoping to locate the abandoned building once more. Axel and Dom chatted between themselves as he walked, while Ty and I remained largely silent, soaking in the atmosphere of our surroundings. Eventually, however, Ty matched my pace to walk alongside me, initiating a conversation. Thank you for inviting me here, Adrian. It was a pleasant surprise receiving your message. It's no problem, but I have to admit, I'm shocked. May I inquire as to why? Well, after yesterday, you said we should spend some time apart, and yet, here we are. Isn't this the opposite of what you wanted? Perhaps. Or perhaps we're here as friends? Maybe this is even work-related. We could call it a team-building exercise. Nothing he said had made any sense to me whatsoever, but I wouldn't have the opportunity to argue, both of us having been distracted by a voice up ahead. Hey, look, we're here. Sure enough, the four of us had arrived at the abandoned building. It looked entirely undisturbed, no different from how it had looked almost a week before. Alright, everyone ready? Yep. Ty, any doubts? Come now, do you think me some straight-laced bore? I will have you know, I fronted a rock band in my younger years. I take it you give me your blessing to drill this lock? Whatever else, a building is long abandoned, is it not? There is surely no harm in a little breaking and entering. Dom approached the door before kneeling down and retrieving a drill from his bag. Loading it with the drill bit, he lifted it up to the lock and pressed it against the metal. That is kind of weird. Lock picking I could understand, but it's kind of weird that, like, they were gonna have a drill bit. It's seriously, not go for the boards on the windows there? Only for the door to slowly creak open. Huh. I swear it was locked when we were last here. With a shrug, Dom packed the drill away and continued opening the door. Alas, there were tree roots blocking it from being opened fully, and Dom had difficulty getting the door to budge. This looks like a job best suited for one such as I. Please, stand aside. Dom obediently followed Ty's instructions. Before Ty Dom obediently followed Ty's instruction before Ty proceeded by what is no doubt a deliberate flex of his shoulder banged the door. Okay, I guess. An assault that proved too much for the rusty hinges to bear, causing the door to come free and fall inward, kicking up a cloud of dust upon impact in the door floor. Nice. You see, Adrian? I told you it was a good idea to bring Ty along. Ty stood by the door, motioning us to enter with a polite bow. It hardly seemed the place for such politeness, but nobody was complaining, as we each made our way inside, with Ty taking up the position at the rear. Rear. The interior of the house was a close match to the exterior in many ways. The walls were covered in faded, torn wallpaper, the floor scattered with debris, and showing obvious signs of water damage, no doubt closely related to the sunlight beaming down upon us through the large holes in the ceiling. There's a few assorted items of furniture scattered throughout in varying stages of disrepair, and they, like everything else, were coated in a thick layer of dust. Despite the unlocked door, it appeared as though nobody had been inside in a long, long time. Watch your step, guys. An old building like this probably has a basement cellar of some sort. The floorboards don't look too stable. You wouldn't want to fall through. Having acknowledged Dom's warnings, we instinctively split into pairs once more, with Dom and Axel heading into what looked like the kitchen, while Ty and I seemingly stumbled upon an old and disused bedroom. Within lay a rusty bed frame, topped with old rotting mattress, and several items of broken and water-damaged wooden furniture. My exploration consequently disturbed a thick layer of dust coating the room, sending me into a brief coughing fit, before gradually regaining my composure. Are you alright? Yeah, just dusty. Doesn't look like there's anything worthwhile in here. What, had you expected ancient treasure? Sadly, that sort of thing usually will not be found in such a place. It is, however, a touch more bare than I had expected. Ty's eyes darted into the bed as he scratched his chin in thought. Suddenly, there was a gleam in his eye as he turned back towards me. Say, that looks like a good place for any fancy, brief distraction. What? Are you serious? No way. It's all moldy and gross. Besides, Axel and Dom are just in the other room. Besides, what about yesterday? What are you even thinking? Very well then, I'll not push the matter, but I will bang you. With a stern look of disapproval, I shook my head at Ty before returning to the room, in which we started with Ty following closely behind. Almost in perfect sync with Ty and me, Dom and Axel mirrored our return from the opposite end of the room, with the four of us reconvening in the center. Did you guys find anything? Nothing. You? Nope. This place has pretty much been stripped, apart from old useless knickknacks. Hate to say it, but I think this place is a bust. May I inquire as to what you had hoped to find here? Something interesting. I don't know exactly what. I explored an old hospital outside Summersville a few years back. A morgue? That sounds eerie. Say morgue or hospital? It said old hospital. It was. It had a big sealed door on it. Someone had etched "Help me" into the metal on the inside. Wow, that sounds so cool. I don't think it was legitimate or anything, though. Probably some kids did it to screw up the urban explorers like us, long after the place had already closed down. Still, I wish I could have seen it. It wasn't like Axel to find such an idea so exciting. Anyway, sorry guys. I think we've been barking up the wrong tree on this one. Shall we get a move on? Are you not forgetting something? What do you mean? We haven't yet explored the cellar. Oh, that. Hate to say it, we found nothing that looked like an entrance to a cellar. Neither did we. Might I trouble the three of you to step aside? Huh? Ty pointed downward, at her feet. Following his finger, the three of us realized in unison that we were stood upon an ancient, mottled mud rug. We cleared out, allowing Ty to grab the rug and toss it behind him in a single confident motion, kicking up even more dust as a consequence. After a brief, shared coughing fit, the dust settled to reveal a cast-iron trapdoor, which... Cast-iron trapdoor? Which by some bizarre and unexplicable miracle was completely absent of any rust. That seems like it would be incredibly hard to lift. Damn, Ty. Aren't I glad you're here? We would have never found this otherwise. Yay, we're going to go down there, right? Please tell me we're going down there. It'd be dark, though, right? Do we have torches? What kind of urban explorer would I be if I didn't come prepared? Reaching into the same bag, which contains the drill, and had previously housed our lunch, Dom pulled out 2 flashlights, handing one of them to me. So is the person that made this game, like, European or British or something? Wait, there's only 2 flashlights. You came prepared with 4 sandwiches? Yeah, sorry. I didn't have the money to buy any more. I spent most of my paychecks on things Axel and I needed, like condoms, when we move into the new place. Worry not, Adrian. I am more than happy to share with you, and I'm sure our friends here will share with one another as well. Yeah, alright. Let's see what the cellar holds. Dom reached down, grabbed the handle, and attempted to lift the door open. It would hardly budge. He sighed, and his shoulders forward and tail between his legs. Forward turned to Ty expectantly. Ty, having grown comfortable with his elected role as communal beefcake, repeated Dom's attempt, only for the trap door to swing open with what looked like considerable ease. Axel clapped excitedly before taking the lead and heading down the ladder. Dom was next, followed by myself, and finally Ty. As I climbed downward, I couldn't help but sneak a look upward at Ty's muscular glutes. Despite how complicated things had become between the two of us, I couldn't deny that the man had an incredible butt. The 4 of us regrouped to take in our surroundings, and as it would happen, this was no ordinary cellar, considering the cobblestones adorned with iron braziers. It was more resembled some sort of dungeon, a dungeon that was at least hundreds of years old. Jackpot! Look at this place. Who knew something like this existed in Woodcrest? Wow. Oh wait, how strange. Wow. How old do you think this place is, Dom? I don't know. Adrian? Ty? Ty wandered over to one of the braziers, closely inspecting the metalwork for several moments before turning back to us. This sort of ironwork shows the telltale signs of techniques used around 800 years ago, which, though I guess this game, it doesn't say whether it's in the United States or Europe, I guess. 800? Are you sure? That doesn't make sense? You're right. After all, Woodcrest was only founded 90 years ago. This building predates that by a long, long time. Did people live here in Woodcrest? Before Woodcrest? Clearly they must have, given the existence of this facility. Alas, I'm afraid I have no answers beyond that. It just says that the braziers were like big with the same design as 800. You can make them today, you know? Or, buy someone else's. This is weird. Do you think we should leave? Maybe this isn't a good idea. Oh, come on, Dom. This is exciting. We're exploring real ancient ruins. Ancient, certainly, but I would hardly say ruins. Unlike the building above, everything down here seems to be curiously well maintained. Maintained? You're suggesting people come down here regularly, then? Certainly seems that way. Man, I don't like this. Come on, you chicken. Hey, what the hell, Axel? You can't say stuff like that. That's just racist stereotype. Oh my god, just shut up and let's go. What the hell? What's gotten into you? Let's go. Gonna have sexy time. Dom glanced back at Ty, and me with a look of confusion, and no doubt before reluctantly following Axel, who was already walking ahead of us. Ty and I looked at each other, shrugging in unison, before walking briskly to catch up. After several minutes of awkward silence between the four of us, we had arrived at a fork in the road, where two adjacent paths proceeded deeper into the dungeon. Well, gentlemen, it would seem there is a decision to be made. Do we split into groups of two, or shall we stick together? Something tells me splitting up is a bad idea. Brack, 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 brack. Scared, dumb. No, I just... You can tell he's normal because of his eyebrows. Then settled. We go right, Ty and his pet husky can go left. Pet husky? What the? Before I could even finish speaking, Axel had dragged Dom by the hand down the right side path. I turned to Ty, my face no doubt telegraphing my offense. Well, you see, this is a fuck tunnel, you know? I would not worry too much about it if I were you. I mean, it's also weird. Axel isn't like this. Something's gotten into him. That being Dom, ooh. Perhaps he is frustrated that Dom keeps slamming on the brakes. He certainly wants to explore. But the Axel I know wouldn't have come here. Makes no sense. It is what I said. I would not worry about it. Shall I proceed onward? I sighed. I didn't like that Ty was brushing off my concerns, but what was there I could do? I reluctantly nodded, and Ty and I set off down the left-hand path. As it proceeded inward, we noticed the doors on each side of the path. Wanting a closer look, I wandered over to one, only to realize it wasn't as much a door as it was a cell. Ty approached it from behind, as I showed my flashlight through the bars. Approached from behind. That's when I saw... Is that a skeleton? Indeed. Mind passing me the flashlight for a minute? I want to get a closer look. Sure. In compliance to Ty's request, I handed him the flashlight. He then opened the cell door before approaching the bones and kneeling before them. He shone the light up and down the skeleton, analyzing specific attributes before standing up and departing from the cell without a word. Well, they're real. Look quite old too. Jeez, it's really scary. What do they belong to exactly? What? Do you not recognize the bones of your own species when you see them? What? They're canid? Indeed. Perhaps they even belong to a husky, not unlike yourself. Ty burst into an upbeat, yet somewhat sinister chuckle. But I'm hardly versed in the science of osteology or something. What would I know? I turned my gaze back to the skeleton. Now that he'd pointed out, it reminded me of what that x-ray I'd gotten as a kid looked like when I fell over and knocked myself out at the ice skating rink. I shuddered as a cool chill ran down up my spine. Suddenly, I noticed the light around me was growing dim. Turned back around, I noticed Ty was proceeding onward alone. I quickly broke into a jog in order to catch up with him. The two of us continued walking side by side for a good while, with neither of us having said a word. The hallway seemed to stretch onward forever and ever. By this point, I had long ago lost count how many cells there were. We surely were nowhere near the abandoned house anymore. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of silence, Ty piped up. Hey, you know. You and I have some privacy now. What do you say we duck into one of these cells and have ourselves a bit of fun? Geez, Ty, I don't think this is the time, or the place. You sure? I will make it worthwhile, I promise. Thanks, but no thanks. Your loss. Why was Ty trying to sleep with me? Is in a place like this, at a time like this, when the future of our relationship was in question. It did not make any sense to me. I questioned what I truly meant to Ty. Did he really see me in the way I liked him? I couldn't endure this anymore. This uncertainty, this doubt, this fear, this pain. I had to talk to him about it all. Ask him, point blank. Ty, what? I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest and blunt. Don't dress it up in fancy words and misdirection. I need you to tell me straight. Did you really see a future with me? Did you really think that we could be a good fit? Or was I a distraction for you? Some kind of amusement? My mind flashed back to what Axel had called me before. Am I just some sort of toy to you? Ty did not reply, his expression remaining blank and seemingly absent. I decided to continue. Because the whole reason I pursued you in the first place was because I thought I could see a future with you. I still do, actually. You tick a lot of the boxes for me, but after last night, I just don't know. The wrong reasons? What were they? If any of this is a concern for me, please, I'm 100% on board. But, I don't know. Are we on the same page? Do you care about me? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. My confusion ascended to new heights as Ty burst into hysterical laughter. My mind buzzily tried to make sense of what was going on as laughter continued on and on until you absolute fool! Question mark, exclamation mark. Look at me. I own a business, a house, a car. I have more money than I know what to do with. What do you have exactly? You're staying at your friend's house with no assets. You don't even have Bitcoin to call your own. No ambitions, no goals, no dreams, nothing. You even have a small wiener. Instead, you rely on the generosity of that friend, the generosity of hard-working business owners such as Lucas and me to exercise clemency. Do you even lift, bruh? What is your 401k? And look at you. What makes you think that someone such as myself, in such incredible shape that I am, would date somebody so ordinary, so plain? Besides, why wouldn't I go for someone my own age? Why wouldn't? Someone who has their life together like I do. Hell, why don't I just date Lucas? At least that would be more fairly matched. I couldn't believe what he was saying. It was like he knew my every insecurity and was deliberately hacking away at them to hurt me as much as he could. This wasn't like him. These weren't the words of the Ty I knew. But you're right about one thing. You were a whole, one perfectly suited, being disposable outlet for my stress and frustration. Disposable? Of course, a disposable a-hole. You know what those are, right? Of course. So long as you remained useful to me, I had planned on keeping you around. But the very moment you became a liability, I would have to cut you loose without second thought. And it was looking at me like a liability. It's exactly what you've become. I'm disappointing you, too blind to see what was right in front of your nose. How very, very disappointing. I'm done wasting my time with you. Ty coldly turned away and walked away, heading deeper and deeper down the path, the light of the flashlight being the only clue to where he was. He went deeper and deeper until he lost sight of him entirely, plunged into complete darkness, all alone, forgetting what little strength I had remaining, or foregoing. I slumped to my knees. Had Ty seriously played me? Was that all I meant to him? I'm not worthless. I'm not a slob. Tears began to run down my cheeks. Ty's word had cut deep. Somehow, he knew just where to strike. No, this couldn't be right. This wasn't the Ty I knew. And, not to mention, Axel's strange, antagonistic behavior. Perhaps it was this place? Perhaps it had some kind of strange effect on people. After all, they only started acting weird when we arrived at the building. But wait, what about Eric and Lucas? Perhaps that's what they had in coincidence? Or perhaps it wasn't this place at all. Perhaps something else is going on. This town was formerly called Echo. Leaving tears from my cheeks, I settled on the defiance, and I refused to accept any of this. Stand back up. I reached into my pocket, retrieved my phone, and switching the flashlight on. I only lit a few feet in front of me, but it would have to do. Having no other options, I decided to proceed onward to try and catch up with Ty. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. I had been walking for maybe 10 minutes, seeing nothing but the same cells on each side of the corridor, until finally, just up ahead, I saw the glow of a flashlight down the path, off to the side of the corridor. I picked up the pace, steady, ready to confront Ty. I wasn't about to let him off the hook. I grew closer and closer, before at long last I turned the corner. Found you, asshole. What? Instead of Ty, I'd stumbled upon the point. Oh no, I'd stumbled upon the point where the two corridors merged back together, and just in the nick of time to stumble upon the others. Oh, sorry. I thought you were Ty. Did something happen? I sighed. I hadn't told Dom about any of the problems with Ty. It was too much to catch up on. Yeah, but it's a long story, and somehow I don't think the story's over either. I'll tell you everything later on, okay? Sure thing. Enough talking. We're nearly there. Nearly where? If you shut up and walk, you'll find out. Sorry, Martin. I have no idea what's gotten into him all of a sudden. Yeah, I figure as much. Ty's been acting weird too. I suppose all we can do is keep walking, right? I guess the answers to our questions are ahead. Somehow, I feel like it might be a better idea if we turn around and left. Something bad. There's something bad with this place. I'd agree, but Ty went on ahead. We can't leave without him. Besides, he owes me some good, goddamn answers. And an apology for that matter. Shit. Alright, Adrian. I'm not going to leave you to find him alone. Just promise me you won't start acting weird too, okay? I promise. I'm holding you to it. I hate this. Let's go, I guess. Pussy. Oh, shut the hell up. Accompanied by Dom and unusually ornery Cheetah, the three of us proceeded onward. I was pleased to once again have the light from the high-powered flashlight, something Axel had repeatedly attempted to grab from Dom, only for Dom to push him off. It was obvious that in my absence, Dom had grown far less patient with Axel's misbehavior. I know that both Dom and I were canines, and both seemingly unaffected. Ty and Axel, on the other hand, had gone completely off the rails and were both felines. Maybe there were some molds or something that causes severe psychological effects in cats, but not in dogs? Surely, if such a thing existed, it would have been weaponized by somebody already, though. I'd never heard of anything like it. Still, didn't expect Eric and Lucas. It didn't explain Eric and Lucas. I still don't know if what was related, that was related or not. None of this made any sense. I crossed my fingers that we would find our answers soon. Look. Ahead, at the very end of the passage, lay a large iron door, not unlike the hatch they'd passed through earlier. At last, we're here. Took you both long enough. Don't want to hear it, Axel. Right. Dom smiled for the first time in a while, holding his hand up for a high five. I obliged with this little grin of my own. Axel at this point was more akin to an irritating stowaway as opposed to a member of the team. Axel, whose expression remained unchanged, walks ahead of us and through the door open wide before standing aside and prompting us to enter, unlike Ty had done with the front door of the building earlier. Hurry up, get in. Although Ty was more gracious and patient about it. If Axel was recommending it, it can't be a good idea. I know, but unless Ty somehow snuck past you guys, this is the only place he could be. We have to keep going. Just so you know, I'm doing this for you, not Ty. I know. I appreciate it. Shall we? Yeah, let's get this over with. Dom allowed me to take the lead, remain close behind. The two of us took our respective breaths and entered. Holy shit, what is this? I was thinking the same thing Dom was. I looked around, my eyes bearing witness to various different ancient torture devices. There was a guillotine, an Iron Maiden, several other things I did not recognize, and then I saw him. Daddy? At the rear of the room stood Ty, his arm shackled to the wall, his shirt missing entirely. He looked angry. I gasped, which drew Dom's attention. He followed my gaze, finally noticing Ty. Oh, shit, Ty! Dom rushed over towards the Ty, his face full of concern. I knew it was a bad idea. I called out, begging him to stop. No, Dom, don't. He's dead. Dom, no! He'd gone too close. Despite his bindings, there was nothing to stop Ty from using his powerful jaw to... His body had crumpled to the ground, blood pouring rapidly from the massive chunk Ty had taken out of his neck. There was no coming back from this. Dom was dead. Once more, I dropped to my knees. The only sane person who had been with me through this horrible nightmare was gone. I was all on my own. Hee 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 ha 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 ho 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 ha 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 ha. My eyes shot upward and darted around the room, frantically searching for the source of the laughter. It wasn't Ty. His voice was deeper than that. Axel? I searched around for the source of the voice, finding nothing before finally taking a look behind me. The iron door I had entered through had been shut. Axel was nowhere to be seen. My immediate instinct was to run. I got up and ran to the door before desperately trying the handle. There's no use. The mechanism to the lock. It must have been on the outside. It made sense. The torturer wouldn't want the victims escaping, were they somehow to break free from their bindings. Was he gonna die here too? I turned around, sudden jolt of fright surging through me as I realized there was something standing where I had noted only moments before. Somebody I didn't recognize. Well, today has been positively bursting with irresistible surprises. Something? It is so very nice to make your acquaintance, my dear Adrian. Who are you? How do you know my name? What were you doing to Ty, or what are you doing? My, take it easy. I am capable of only answering but a single query at one time, and I'll give you my assurance that will become clear in due course. I have been known by many, many names. What you call me matters not. As for how I have come to know your name, rest assured, I know a great deal. Should you consider the wisdom, knowledge, and perception of our dear Ty here to be anything noteworthy, I can assure you that which I possess is vastly greater by every considerable metric. Neither of his answers really satisfied my question I had asked. His name was of little consequence to me, as how much he knew. I wanted to know his purpose, and specifically where he learned my name. Looking at Ty, he didn't seem to be in a talking mood. The mysterious stranger didn't look especially dangerous, but there was something about him that made me incredibly uneasy. His jet black feathers were flawless and pristine, a showcase of impeccable health. His face carried an implication of youth. He appeared perhaps even younger than I was. The suit he wore was similarly immaculate, entirely pristine, looked incredibly articulate, and was no doubt worth a great deal of money. Despite that, the style looked as though it were a relic of a bygone era. Everything about him was so perfectly presented, yet so deeply unnerving. His eyes were blood red, an extremely rare color, and one I've never seen in a person. And looking into his cold red eyes, my gut told me that something was wrong, but I couldn't articulate my feelings in any greater detail than that. I once more surveyed my surroundings, coming to the same conclusion I had previously. There was no escape, no way out. I was gonna die here. There wasn't a single thing I could do about it. And strangely, I'd very quickly adapted to the assurance of my demise. I suddenly stood up straight, my stance conveying newfound confidence, and asked him point blank what I wanted to know. After all, if I was gonna die anyway, I had nothing to lose. That doesn't tell me what I wanted to know. I don't give two shits what people call you. Own context. Perhaps a better question than who you are would be what are you and what's your purpose? Sickly sweet serenade of one who, with naught left to lose. There is no better substance. Answer my fucking question, Crow. Raven, thank you very much. Don't be racist. Answer my fucking question. So rude. For such insolence, I have half a mind to release poor Ty here. Something tells me he's positively dying for a juicy snack. Despite having nothing to lose, it would seem the Raven wasn't so willing to play ball. As it would happen, I had something to gain. Some explanation of what had led me to the bitter end. Some closure in my final moments. I sighed. I either died in ignorance or died knowing why. I begrudgingly decided to play along. Please answer my questions, Raven. To you, I am at least sir. I sighed again, my dignity for closure. If I was dying anyway, what did either thing matter? Nonetheless, I decided to indulge his request, at least for now. Please, sir, would you kindly answer my questions? You see, was it truly such a difficult endeavor? I shall begin in earnest by striking two birds with one stone, as it were. He. The irony of itself, being a bird, was clearly not lost to him as he strutted across to where Ty was shackled. Oh, then, the question of whom and what I am your deepest fears and insecurities made manifest. The Raven lifted his finger, delicately stroking the fur under Ty's chin. Ty responded with a ferocious growl, yet he did not attack. Instead, his gaze was focused firmly on me the entire time. The Raven chuckled as Ty bore his teeth. The way he was acting, growling, the fury, the bestial ferocity. It reminded me of 2 nights prior, when we did things. The ferocious, dominant, and animalistic side. I recalled being a touch nervous all the while. The only thing keeping me from fear was my trust for Ty. And my trust was rewarded. Ty was in his right mind after all, animal instincts under his jurisdiction. But this time, nothing remained of the Ty I knew. He had given in to his inner beast. Ancient animal instincts had taken hold, replaced the kind-hearted, sweet man with... As for my purpose, well, that is for you to decide, is it not? What are you talking about? Pray we don't get ahead of ourselves. You'll come to understand, in time. With all due respect, it doesn't look like I have any time left. I suppose that all depends on what you have chosen to believe. Such is hardly my concern. Finally, you want to know how I knew your name? You see, everyone here does. What? Everyone here? What are you even talking about? It struck me that the Raven had spoken many words, but not a single one contained a shred of information. I had learned nothing from this encounter. I could only assume this was an intention. You come to understand, and perhaps much sooner than you think. The stranger chuckled before returning back towards Ty and began the process of unfastening his bindings. What are you... Do you not have things you should be doing? What? You're quite fortunate he's not seen you yet. As always, his words made no sense. By this point, Ty's growling had resumed, and he bared his enormous fangs, not to mention his bindings were already halfway done. I knew it was fruitless, but I had to escape. I had to at least try. I turned tail and ran to the door, grabbing the handle tightly, twisting and pulling in sheer desperation. A voice rang out from behind. Fool, the door shall never open no matter how hard you try. It can never open. Only I can set you free, and it would be my greatest pleasure. I tried and tried, in defiance of the stranger's words. At last, it seemed as though he were right. It wouldn't bulge, even slightly, as if it were welded shut. Quickly now, if he turns around and sees you like this. I turned around, frustrated by the incoherency of his statements. Even his tone of his voice was inconsistent. What the fuck are you talking about? Time's up. Daddy, he was free. I collapsed to my knees, rolling in the fetal position, bracing myself for the inevitable demise. And so he died. That's gonna be the end of this series, because there isn't anything advertised stuff. We chose poorly. I guess now it's time to go on to... what is it? Oh, it's blinking. I was like, wait, what's happening in this scene? First Shades of Gay. Yeah, I didn't think it would be that long. I thought it was like, oh, it'll be 30, maybe 40 minutes. Not like 50 minutes, jeez. But anyways, that's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. So, please comment, cause I like comments, if you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos type of grow. Please remember to spay your animals to help control the pet population. And if you're interested in playing this game, it's available for free. Not a job, but if you want to people that make this game and get the newest version earlier, you can go with their Patreon, which is $5 a month and $54 a year. And until next time, I'll say me, GamerWolfSix, Sileo, Tales of Dawn. Thanks and see ya.